Hey, welcome back to the JKMoto Entertainment channel. Welcome back once again to Stable B, our favorite place. Today, we're here to introduce a brand new bike. Well, it's actually not brand new. It's a little old. It's a 2008. It is a Yamaha, and it is actually an R6. And I'll show you guys here in a second. I'll kind of come down to our level so we can talk about it a little bit. But we can pick up the new bike, not to keep, but to work on. And I might go ride it around. I've actually ridden it a little bit already, and we'll talk about that here in a second. And then we'll kind of talk about everything that we're planning on doing to it, and then you guys will be able to follow along with the, I don't want to call it a build series, because I'm not really like building it, but we are going to change quite a few things on this because it's not really in the shape that we or the actual owner want to have it in. So we're going to fix those things. So let's go ahead and show you guys the bike, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So right here, right next to me, as you can see, maybe, you guys see that part? Yeah, awesome, right there. We have a Yamaha R6. Now in a second, or actually in a B-roll, you should have seen it. This thing is in fact not set up anywhere like how we want it to be over here on the JKMoto Entertainment channel. So as you know, this channel is based around track riding and club racing on sport bikes, or really any motorcycle. I'll give it any motorcycle because I do preach that any motorcycle can go to the track. And this one could, but it's not really set up the best for it. Speaking of that, and speaking of the channel, you guys should definitely subscribe to the channel. So go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and throw a like on the video. And if you have any comments on this, this is a 2008 Yamaha R6. I've actually heard a lot of great things about these bikes, and I've heard some negative things. I'll call them negative because I don't really think they were actually that negative. I just think that that's kind of what floats around when people want to say something about it. But anyway, this one is stretched. It is lowered. It's lowered in the back. It's lowered in the front. So luckily, it looks like the back lowering links are a little adjustable, so we'll be able to bring that height up. And we'll be able to take the front height up because they just lowered it on the forks here, nice and easy. And then the swing arm, not too hard, just some swing arm extenders. We're actually gonna pull those out, put it back to the original swing arm length, or wheelbase, I guess would be the proper term there. So those are all things that the owner wanted us to do. Beyond that, we do need to do a little bit of fixing. It's having a little bit of an electrical issue, so the battery, I guess, is not charging while it's running, which means either a stator or a rectifier, regulator rectifier. So we'll look into that, do a little bit of troubleshooting there, and then be able to replace either one of those parts or both, depending on which one it turns out to be. Then there's also a cooling issue with it, I guess. But you know, I don't hate it, and I want to say I hate it. He told me it was lowered, or actually he just told me it was stretched. I don't know if he realized it was lowered or not. Not trying to like discredit him or anything, but I'm not sure if he mentioned it. But he told me it was stretched. He's like, is that hard to take out? I was like, nah, it shouldn't be too bad as long as the chain and sprocket are in good shape. I should be able to pull some links out of the chain, and then we can put it right back together without the swing arm extenders, and everything should be great. So, looking at it, the chain looked like it's great. I don't know, I have no idea how many links we're gonna have to pull out of that thing to get it back to normal. But like I said, the lowering links in the rear are definitely adjustable, so we should be able to adjust those up. And then this front shouldn't be any harder than just loosening up the triple tree front, top and bottom, and pulling it back up to near the top. And if he ever goes and gets his suspension adjusted, he can figure out exactly where he wants it after that. But it really shouldn't be anything too crazy. Beyond that, I think it's missing a horn. That's why we got some electrical wires here. But the only other issues, like I mentioned, those electrical issues and the cooling issues. So we'll get those figured out also. I have a suspicion that there's not much coolant in it. He said he thought there was some JB weld on the radiator. So we'll take a look at that and possibly get a new radiator on it. But all in all, I'm pretty excited about it. It's the first R6 we've had in the garage, also the first R6 that I've been able to ride. I did go ride it around, and so a little backstory here. I've been in the motorcycle community obviously for a while, and I've always been told that R6s, especially this generation, they feel like 250s until you get to 10,000 RPM, right? They rev all the way out to 16,000 or more sometimes, and the power band is very much at the top because it's a small cylinder inline 4, small CC, 600, 599 to be exact, inline 4, and that's just kind of how they are. I've been on similar bikes with the Gixxer 750. I always felt like it couldn't be that much different, but you know, they say that, oh, well, the 750's got more low end torque, that's why everyone loves it, and all these great things, and that's awesome. So I hopped on this thing and I was expecting like, hey, maybe I'll be able to feel that. You know, I don't really believe it, I don't really buy into it, because sport bikes are actually like, people say that, and then you go out and ride them and like, you don't need to put in that much effort to get up into the power band. It really isn't that hard, because they love to rev and they love to rev fast. So yeah, it feels like a 250 below 10,000 RPM, but it's not like it's slow. And then I got out and I rode this thing. I clicked it down into first. Put in quotations there, we'll talk about that in a second, but I clicked it down into first and I was going, and man, that thing just lugged. It lugged around. There was no power there. I was like, wow, this is bad. Like, this is really bad. I knew that people had said that, but I never believed it because, it doesn't really sound all that accurate, but this is not good. And so I'm riding around in first gear, like barely able to even get out of it because I'm like, what is going on here for first gear? So then I click it up into what I think is second gear, and the RPM goes up instead of down. And then I stalled the bike when I put it back into first gear, and I was like, hang on a second, this doesn't seem quite right. So then I clicked it all the way up, started it again, and went, and sure enough, it was a GP shift. The owner didn't tell me about that. He thought that was very normal for bikes. I didn't expect it to be. And when a different buddy of his helped me load it in the trailer, when he loaded it, I saw him click it down into first. Obviously, he didn't know either. Here we are riding this thing around in sixth gear in my neighborhood, wondering why this whole 250 below 10,000 RPM thing is so true. Well, turns out when you're riding in sixth gear instead of first and you're under 30 miles an hour, it's really not good. So don't make too much fun of me, but I just wanted to get that out there. It is a GP shift bike, and that question is always worth asking, even if the person with the bike doesn't necessarily know or isn't super familiar with that. You know, is it down 1, up 6, or sorry, down 1, up 5, or up 1, down 5? Easy question, easy to know, easy to get an answer on. So this is what you should definitely ask. But anyway, like I said, 2008 Yamaha R6. I'm very excited about it. I actually don't hate it. I think it was done very well. I think it was done very clean. Everything does seem to be very well put together, surprisingly. Oftentimes when I find these stretched and lowered bikes, it's kind of a little all over the place. So anyway, we're very, very excited to have it on the channel here with us. We're gonna bring you guys along for the journey. Just want to give a quick little introduction to the bike and kind of show you what it's all about. And I'll run you through some parts real quick. We'll look at the extension and we'll look at that. We'll look at the rear lowering links and show you that those are adjustable. And then in the next episode, you should be able to see us start doing some troubleshooting. Then we'll get some parts in here. We'll get those put in, and then we'll get the thing back up to stock height and stock wheelbase so that it's actually rideable. And I will say real quick before I show you those things, it actually wasn't that bad. Now keep in mind, I just rode around the neighborhood real quick. I was just seeing if I could test and see if there was anything else wrong with it. The only thing I did notice out there was the cooling issue. I want to hear in the comments down below. Let me know if anyone's ridden a stretch bike or has a stretch bike. Let me know how they ride. I'm very curious. I'm very against it myself. I really don't think they need to be stretched, or they should be stretched. I think you kind of take some of the fun out of it when you do that. But, you know, if you're big into drag racing, I guess that's what that's for. I personally don't believe in stretching them, especially the 600s. It's really not worth it. They make bikes for that. Like, you can go buy a Hayabusa and put a stretch on a Hayabusa. Like, I don't care. Go for it. I might do it one day. Who knows? But I don't think these things deserve it. But I was a little surprised. It wasn't, like, horrible to ride around. It was a little weird. The front tire, like, when you turn it, it still, like, dives down. And once again, this is slow speed. At slow speeds with such a low bike, it'll probably tip over real nice and easy, maybe, I don't know. But that's what it felt like. It felt like it wanted to tip over, but then it just felt like when you were tipped over, it wanted to fall over on itself, if that makes any sense. Like it felt like the front tire wanted to turn and the rear tire didn't have the support to do it. Or the rear tire wasn't there. So that's what it felt like to me. You guys let me know that in the comments. We'll go over this stuff and we'll close out the video real quick. So anyway, you can see the swing arm extension down here. Like I said, it's pretty clean. It's got the R6 on it. The chain looks pretty good. The sprocket looks okay. Chain's, you know, got some wear and tear and dirt on it, whatever. But I like the swing arm extension. I don't think it looks so bad. It doesn't look too homemade or anything crazy like that. I also kind of like all the gold. I think the colors work very well together. I was very surprised about that. Then this front, like I mentioned, really should not be that hard. We're just gonna pull these bolts out and move this thing up. And conveniently, there's these nice little notches here, so we'll just pick a notch to go to. And that's what we'll go to. Then in the rear, hopefully we can see it down here. You can see those swing arm extenders in there, or sorry, the lowering links in the rear. So that link, right there, you can see an adjustment screw. You can put a wrench on that side, and then another adjustment screw there. So we should be able to adjust those back up pretty easily. If not, we'll just buy stock ones. And I'll get the lengths out of there to verify we're within the right length measurement, and we'll get her put back on the road how she's supposed to be. So anyway, that's gonna close this out for today. Once again, you should subscribe to the channel, throw a like on this video, and if you're watching this and it's been a few weeks or a few months, go ahead and click the link right here for the playlist, or just go check out the channel. There's a lot of other good playlists on there. So we'll get this thing torn down. We'll do a little bit of troubleshooting, get some parts replaced, get her back on the road, and get her back to her original condition, the way she was meant to be, so it can be the great ride that everyone says that it is. This generation and the generation right after it, I've heard so many good things about. Kind of excited to go whip it around. I'm actually way more excited for my buddy who owns it, because hopefully he'll be able to enjoy the bike the way it was supposed to be without this giant stretch and the lowering and all that. You can't even, I couldn't even get it in my trailer without scraping the bottom a little bit. And then I can't, like, getting it up a driveway, I have to drive this thing down a driveway like super diagonal to keep the bottom from scraping on that. And that's a little too much, especially for a bike. In a car, if that's the thing, go for it. On a bike, that's crazy. So anyway, like I said, we'll get it back to normal. I'm very excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.